This is a direct variation word problem. The circumference of a circle, C, so we're going to use C, varies directly. So right away, I see those words varies directly. And so that tells me that it's a direct variation as the radius R. So C varies directly as R are the keywords here. They also tell us that C is 7 pi when R is 3.5. We're going to find R when C is 4.5 pi. So there's a lot of information to organize here. Now, I prefer method 1 where we set up the direct variation function, but I'm also going to demonstrate method 2, which is where you can use a proportion. I don't want you to get confused between the different method options, especially when I get into different types of variations. So that's why I would encourage you to stick with method 1. But if you really are dying to do method 2 instead, then that's fine as long as you get the right answer. So like I said earlier, C varies directly as R is what should jump out at you. I write that as C equals, C varies. Since it's directly, it's just equal to R multiplied by any constant that you want. I always use K. The next piece of information we're given is that C is 7 pi when R is 3.5. So you need to make sure that you're not mixing and matching numbers here. It's telling us that the 7 pi and the 3.5 go together. So because of that, I'm going to plug them in together, and that will help me find K. Now, don't worry about using the pi button in your calculator. I'm going to keep this in terms of pi. Dividing by 3.5 to get K by itself. And I'm just going to do 7 divided by 3.5, which is 2, and that's still with the pi. So we find that K is equal to 2 pi. Now remember, you're not going to just circle K equals 2 pi and say that that's the answer. 2 pi is part of our direct variation function, which is C equals 2 pi R. Now, if you remember anything from geometry, this is actually the function or the formula for circumference. But obviously, if you didn't remember it, we used our direct variation and we figured it out. Now, I'm not going to circle this because this is not my final answer. The question wasn't asking me for the function, it was telling me to find R when C is 4.5 pi. Now, I've already used the 7 pi with the 3.5, so I'm done with it. That helped me find K. I'm not going to use it anymore. Now the goal is to find R when C is equal to 4.5 pi. So finding R when C is 4.5 pi means I'm just going to replace C with 4.5 pi, and now I'm going to solve for R by dividing both sides by 2 pi. Now, don't be alarmed by all of the pi's here. If you have a pi and then you're dividing by another pi, those are just going to cancel each other out. So all you have to do is 4.5 divided by 2. And this was in feet, so the radius would be 2.25 feet when the circumference was 4.5 pi feet. So the answer to this is 2.25 feet. I told you I would use the other method, which is setting up a proportion. So I'm using C and R, and you want to just make sure that you pair them up correctly. So like I said earlier, the 7 pi and the 3.5 go together. So I'm going to say that those are my C1 and my R1. Now when setting up the other side, make sure that the C's are lined up and the R's are lined up. The C2 and the R2 is what I'm trying to figure out. I know the second circumference was 4.5 pi, and we were trying to figure out the radius that goes with it. So R2 is the R that we're trying to find. What you do when you have a proportion is you cross multiply and you set those equal to each other. 7 pi times r, we're just going to write 7 pi r. 3.5 times 4.5 pi is 15.75 pi. And now to get r by itself, I'm going to divide by 7 pi. I've got the pi's canceling again. And we get the same answer as before. So you can use either method here. But again, I prefer method 1.